welcome to Sessions and On That Note. I'm Cindy Royal, helping you get to know the talented and creative musicians in the Austin community. And today I'm happy to have Aimee Bobruk and Jon Notarthomas here in my house with me. Thanks for coming over, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
How's it going?
It's great.
Really good. This is kicks off the tour.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I know that you have a lot of plans ahead for the tour, a very busy tour over the next couple of months. So why don't you talk about that a little bit first?
Yeah, well, it started. Our next show's in Dallas. Real quick, we're doing Dallas, Memphis, Knoxville, Millham, Pennsylvania, New York. We'll be in New York for a week. 3 dates in the city, the Living Room, Rockwood Music Hall, 68 J Street Bar. We drive back down, hit a show in Arkansas, and then out to the West Coast. So Marfa, Texas, Silver City, New Mexico, Scottsdale, Tucson, Joshua Tree, San Diego, LA.
It's a busy schedule.
That's a busy schedule, across country tour.
I know, I'm crazy. I'm like, everybody's talking about the economy, and I'm like, I'm going to get in my car and go across country.
We're immune to the economy. We're already lose money like every time.
Yeah, right. We're already poor, so it doesn't really affect us.
So you're known for working very hard and promoting yourself quite effectively. So how did you get this tour arranged?
I decided I was going to do it, and then I started spending many, many hours on the computer. I always start off with a list of people that come to mind that I think could, give good references, but I'm just completely indie, so it's me and the telephone, me and email, and then picking people's brains, other friends, musicians in town that have toured, and then just going at it every day like a job. So
that's exactly what you have to do. I mean, you just have to work hard and kind of do it yourself and make stuff happen.
Yeah. Although you should say, though, it's like Aimee's getting a great team of supportive people in her camp, from Joe Ray.
We work with Joe Ray DiMino at Heart
as an intern, and there's a lot of people who are really rooting for her cause. So I mean, that's, we should mention that's part of it. But definitely, she's doing the majority of the work.
Well,
it won't be that way for long.
You seem to have a community of people that support you in a lot of ways, because I was noticing on your MySpace all the different people who played on your album with you. And how did some of those relationships come about? Like Darwin Smith produced it for you. I saw Patty Griffin, Kim Deschamps on there. Looks like you just got everyone in Austin basically to do something on your project.
Well, I met Darwin Smith through Jon, and Jon had a project called The Walk-Ins with Craig Marshall, and they had recorded a CD with Darwin, and Jon suggested that I work with him.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a calculated plan, really. I mean, just to get a good local producer who was accessible, and Darwin, just fortunately at the time, was not overwhelmed with projects, and I knew, that Aimee's songwriting was of a kind of quality that if we just got connected in the scene, and we knew, I knew enough people, Darwin knew enough people, that it was just a matter of getting in there and getting started.
Yeah, we had some special people on the CD though. Kim Deschamps is one to mention. Darwin arranged that, as well as Brian Standifer, who plays with Alejandro and Patty, and then Anna Eggy is on it as well. I had seen her perform the year before, and fell in love with her music, so contacted her to sing some vocals, and as well as Steve Moore from the Seattle area, friend of Jon's, and travels with Laura Veers and Bill Frisell, and they were down here for South by, and we were like, come in for a day in the studio and lay down some tracks. So it we took a while. It wasn't a fast album to make, but I think the beauty of that is that we got a collage of amazing musicians to appear on it, which wouldn't have happened if we just went in 2 weeks and did the whole thing.
There's a lot of texture on the album too. Was that Darwin? Was that you? Was that a collaboration?
I think it's a combination of, I trust Darwin, I trust his ear. His ear is amazing. He had ideas, and he'd ask me about them or lay down some rough tracks of his ideas, and we'd say go with it. But it really comes down to the musicians too. Like Brad Hauser is not the kind of guy that he played baritone saxophone on it and plays with the New Bohemians, and as well as John Bush. Brad Hauser and John Bush are the kind that you give an idea about, and then they totally bring themselves to it. So it's very much the collage of texture, I think, happened
Collaborative
because
efforts,
of just
yeah.
the musicians that were involved.
Yeah, there was. I mean, it was a really good environment that Aimee had with Darwin. You know, I mean, essentially just really creating a comfortable environment for people to do what they do, and I think fortunately that comes through. And
I
think,
don't want to micromanage
Yeah.
the situation.
Not creative people
They'll do
anyway.
it,
Well,
yeah.
it was great, and it was a good partnership. I think obviously Darwin's got a good signature on the record. You know, I mean, and Aimee's songs were just a great, basically canvas for people to be able to do what they did, and you know they all loved it. You know, they've been supportive, and several of those guys have played shows with us and stuff. So it's been a positive experience.
I didn't want it to be like a standard singer-songwriter 4-piece band in a studio, and at the time I didn't. I was kind of in transition from exiting some players that I played with because my material was shifting, and I wanted it to push the envelope a little bit in terms of the arrangements specifically, and I think it accomplished that, and the reaction has been positive, and some people love it, some people think it's too much or it should be stripped down, but it's, you know, it is what it is. The next album will be completely different. So
Well, we should mention the name of it. It's the Safety Match Journal, and I was interested in where that name came from.
Oh, forgot the copy.
you can go to
Imagine, if you will, the Safety Match Journal.
There's a bird and Aimee on it.
Green screen. We don't have green screen.
I brainstormed a lot of names. You had some interesting advice as to how to come up with a title for an album, you know.
One from
Get
column
it
A, one from column B,
recreated,
like.
Get really messed up and read this book or open the book to this page, and I was just I actually ended up pulling out some journals to see if there were any I don't know, some themes that were reoccurring, and one of the actual themes of the journal that I had written in when I was in Indonesia was vintage safety matches. So it was all these photos of different matchbooks from India, and I kind of mentioned the matchbox thing to Jon. I was like, what about matchbox, and safety, and I think he was just like, why don't you just call it the Safety Match Journal? And
Did
so
I suggest it?
You did suggest it.
You get credit for that.
You did. And I was kind of like,
I
that's
love
good.
that. I forgot that. See?
Well, how did you guys start playing together?
Well,
Interesting.
you know, I had gone back to school at St. Edward's University and was getting a writing degree, and sort of starting over after playing music for all these years. You know, I felt like, boy, I need to take a new approach, and it had troubled me. I hadn't gotten my education, and you know, I met Aimee in the library one day, and we just became good friends, and she was interested in playing music, and
I stalked him.
she stopped me. And it wasn't such a
You gotta
bad
do what you gotta
start.
do, you know?
But you know, and she was real interested in playing music, and it was sort of funny because I was a little bit wanting to be out of music at the time. But and you know, she started bringing songs by, and you know, we'd talk about them and just talk about music, and it just was a healthy sort of you know, interest between us. And you know, eventually, I mean, I guess I started sitting in a little bit and came to this.
You guys sound really great together. You have very pretty harmonies and accompany each other quite well. So it was a good stock.
Yeah, there you go. Good harmony, see?
So I did want to know what some of your influences were, like some of your early influences. Who do you, who inspires you?
No, I would say probably early on I was for violin I took the Suzuki method. So actually I was quite turned on by classical music. This is Mozart, Schubert, Beethoven, as it related to learning how to play the violin. But I remember feeling like really enthused about that. And then in pop music, I really was a late bloomer. I got turned on to pop music when I was about 20, and in high school it was more musical theater actually. So a lot of Andrew Lloyd Webber, a lot of operas.
I think that really defines some of the texture then in your music, that you have so many different influences in your background. coming into
that
it.
could be it, yeah. I can't really say it was one thing. I mean, my parents always supported music, but there weren't like records or, you know, playing constantly. And I listened to a lot of what a lot of REM and U2 when I was younger.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. So.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming over, and I hope you have a great tour. I'm going to be interested in reading your Twitter that you're going to start and your blog and the videos that you're going to shoot on the road. So have a great time, and again, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you, Cindy. Thanks.
Last night